Hi Tanya, this is Tammy with Great Mother Speaks, sending out to you much love, and I do sincerely apologize for our mix-up today, well, my mix-up today with your 12 p.m. appointment for May the 14th. It's Monday, the day after Mother's Day. Speaking of Great Mother, on Monday, you were all scheduled for a noon appointment that I read as 12:30. So in compensation to you, you actually purchased a half-hour reading that I was all set to call you on the phone for. I said, let me offer Tanya for her inconvenience an hour reading. And so that's just fine because you said that you preferred a video reading anyway. So all things work together for the good. And your inquiry to Great Mother is about what to expect over the next couple of months. And so the next couple of months is a wonderful place to start with the new moon. The new moon is in Taurus tomorrow, Tuesday, the 15th of May. And this is the season of grounding our intentions for the year. So if you are a subscriber to Great Mother Speaks YouTube channel, well then you already know what Great Mother's suggested wishes were for you this lunar cycle for May. And so speaking of the next couple of months, well then of course we're talking about June as well. So in your personal reading here, we're going to look at May, which are the cards that I'm laying down here now, and then we'll go into the next lunar cycle, which will begin in June with the new moon in Gemini. But for now, we're going to look at now until the very end of this lunar cycle, right before that new moon, which includes the full moon in Sagittarius. So if we just take a second here and just get really clear with what Great Mother has here and just ask her for the clarity, the balance, and the confirmation that Tanya is seeking today for her reading, we will begin with what we see here coming up for you. Give me just a second to look at that. It seems to be showing that you are definitely approaching this new moon season, Tanya, with a feeling of acceptance. You are accepting how you're feeling about something. You're coming to a realization that how you feel is truly how you feel about a particular person or situation. And you are feeling it viscerally. This is the gut chakra full moon card. So a full moon card during the new moon means that there's a tremendous amount of illumination that is coming forward for you. This is in fact the scene in the Wizard of Oz, and the Great Mother Speaks Oracle deck is based on the 49 scenes of the Wizard of Oz. This is the scene when Dorothy is actually standing in the ruby red slippers that have been bestowed upon her by Glinda the Good Witch, symbolizing her birthright to health, happiness, and wholeness. So there's something right now during this Taurus full moon that you are definitely identifying with regard to your birthright. You are standing in your birthright. You are accepting your right to ask for what you want, to articulate what your needs are in your life in a new way. You don't have a problem doing that. I took a look at your astrology, and it doesn't seem that you have any problems asserting that, but it definitely seems to be in a new way that you are likely doing that at this particular time. This acceptance of your feelings in a new way, Tanya, is showing me that the transformative opportunity is coming up for you to actually assert those wants and those needs in that new way that has come to you. And so whatever this new way is, maybe you're starting to get an idea about how you want to identify yourself, but you're not quite sure. Maybe you are beginning to follow a yellow brick road, so to speak, a new way of being, a new way of identifying yourself in the world. Now, the Divine Father card, the law of Divine Father, is all about that double yang energy of acting on what you know. And so that yin is that insight that you have. And so there's some new insight that you definitely feel. And Great Mother is encouraging you to act upon that. She's encouraging you to follow through with that. In fact, that is your transformative opportunity during this lunar cycle. It is about the Mother Mary energy. And so maybe Mother's Day prompted this in you, which would be indicative of the timing of this reading. Or there has been someone who is mother-like that has come on the scene, who hasn't been on the scene in a while in your life, or who you are just now tapping into, who has that energy with you and for you in your life. Or it could possibly be you acting that way towards others, that you are being encouraged to continue and to pursue. This is definitely a personality trait that you have, a great caring for children. And so whether it's your child or the child of others, maybe this child needs some form of protection or your care. But whatever apprehensions that you may have had about providing it in the past, now going forward is definitely going to put you even in more greater clarified touch with your feelings during this lunar cycle. And it's going to allow you to, in the position of what not to overlook, Great Mother is encouraging you not to overlook the fact that this is about your self-creation. So even though there may be a focus on a maternal figure, be it you or someone else acting in your life, the focus is really on you. We see here with Dorothy in the photograph with Aunt Em, again, that maternal figure that cares about you, that somehow is in the background. Maybe you not really seeing yourself as that in relationship to a person, or you having maybe a vague kind of relationship with your mother at this time in terms of that kind of needing of compassion or that kind of thing. It's not really clear because it's about your self creation. It's about what your wants and what your needs are in terms of how you can fulfill them for yourself at this particular time. However, these relationships are offering you a mirror. They're offering you some form of reflection and insight that will give you more clarity with regard to how to fulfill your present wants and needs during this lunar cycle. And in terms of your wishes for this lunar cycle, as you are a Sagittarius moon, if I were to pull those up, I'm sure that I could get an idea of, really what your suggested wishes are. But I really do encourage you, especially since you're going to be getting this reading, Tanya, during the new moon, to look at those new moon suggestions, because I think it's going to give you an indication of really how to clarify what this mirror image is for you right now, with the law of Divine Father acting on how you feel. We have two gut chakra cards here. This is gut chakra in the center, and that's all about, trusting, how you feel and acting on that. So this lunar cycle, that is really and truly the focus. And not to overlook second chakra energy here with the waxing gibbous moon, how you have been revising, how you have been editing and re-identifying yourself through new wants and new needs without this very close relationship with mother energy, because it's becoming more internalized. And in the shadow position is rage and another waxing gibbous moon card. And so this revision, this editing, this really reevaluating where you are and who you are at this time. Second chakra energy, wants, needs, desires. Root chakra energy in the shadow position. So there's a feeling of being ungrounded. There's a feeling of being uprooted from security, from safety, as it relates to the maternal relationship. Again, Aunt M was powerless to assist Dorothy when Miss Gulch came to take Toto, who symbolizes her intuition. She told Dorothy that we cannot go against the law. Miss Gulch was a powerful woman in town and had called the sheriff on them to have the authority to come in their house and take the dog. We cannot go against the law, Dorothy. Toto must go. So there's a justified anger, a righteous indignation that you're feeling about someone questioning what you know, how you're feeling. There's someone that's questioning this and is basically outright, perhaps this maternal figure, perhaps this need that you're feeling to protect a child. Maybe they are being mistreated, but they know that something isn't going on right with their mother and their relationship, and that's perhaps why you are wanting to protect this child. If it is not your child, if it is your own child, maybe there is something that the child is saying that may be upsetting and ungrounding to you because of your own maternal cycle that you're trying to heal at this time. But either way, it's in the shadow position, Tanya, and so that means it's something that is not readily in your conscious realm that you're aware of. And oftentimes when segment comes up, it is in the shadow position, and it is also completely a shock. We're completely unaware that we are rageful, because rage is suppressed anger. And so being anger over a prolonged, extended period of time does create kind of this smoldering fire that can boil over. Now, part of your life mission is to really focus on how you can cultivate relationships with other people in a way that allows you to have a more of a playful interaction with people, kind of finesse what you know, as opposed to kind of hitting them over the head with it. And you don't feel like finessing right now, either maybe because you are maybe reflecting on this situation. This is a new identity for you. And so maybe you are stepping into this lunar cycle more of an awareness of what you want to create in your life. And so you are taking on that internal life challenge of being more savvy, but it's still a challenge. You're still processing how you want to communicate, or you have already communicated in a rageful way and there may be some regret about it. But either way, Great Mother is encouraging you to own your beauty. The Nefertiti card is a waning gibbous moon card that is all about the gratitude for what you have shared the gratitude for what you now have as a result of the clarity that you now possess. So there's a great deal of clarity that you have now, Tanya, about who you are. And it's no surprise Uranus has been in a 7-year stint in Aries. Uranus is the planet of soul genius, and Aries is the identity constellation. Your south node is in Aries, and so you know all about, you've had many lifetimes that have been very focused on your identity, so much so you've been very warlike and very much in the stance of who you are and what you're about in the world, and expressing that in a very strong way. But your north node is in Libra, and so we go from the I to the other. And that is the soul journey each lifetime, the south to the north node. And so that's where the finessing the I with the other comes in. And Great Mother is encouraging you to own your 5th chakra, waning gibbous moon, that gratitude that you have for your creative expression. You also have a great deal of creativity. Either you were raised with a mother that was very creative and you went to a lot of artistic classes or dance classes or building classes, Legos or things like that, that you were really, really creative in, painting. Or you have this need within yourself to develop it, to express it. And Great Mother is encouraging you to embrace that, because it's that energy that is your bridge from the I to the other. And maybe that's where the breakdown is that you're feeling at this particular time. So what I'm showing, you can really look forward to this lunar cycle, Tanya, is a greater realization of how your new identity needs to shine through in your relationships to others as a creative maternal force. You are either a manager of other people, or you are a mother to someone, or there is a mother that is related to you that is showing you really how to finesse your intuition. What you know, and not lose the intuition. Okay, that's the losing part with the rage. Not lose the intuition, but instead really, really cultivate it in ways that do ground you and do honor what you know. She's encouraging you to, even though you may have new sea legs around all of this self-creation and these new wants and needs as a result of this new identity, because conjunct this new moon, the 15th tomorrow, is Uranus in Taurus. It moves for the first time in decades into Taurus on the 15th, tomorrow, Tuesday. And that is, since you are Sagittarius moon in your 5th house, well then that makes Taurus your if Sagittarius is in your 5th house, well then Taurus is in your 11th house, because your 1st house is in a Leo. Your ascendant is a Leo. So your 12th house would be Cancer, your 11th house would be Gemini, and Taurus then would be your 10th house, if I got that right. I want to be sure I got that right for you. Okay, with that Leo ascendant. Taurus is in your 10th house, which means that with Uranus on the 15th in your 10th house, then your work situation is going to drastically change this month. So this would definitely lean toward work. It would lean toward a maternalistic type of manager. It would lean toward, obviously, either you being that manager or you having a manager that is like a mother, that has mother energy. And the kind of disciplined routine work that you perhaps are doing is really something that is making this communication of what your new wants and your needs are challenging. All of us are undergoing this shift from Uranus from Aries to Taurus, and Uranus is the planet of soul genius, but it's sudden shocks, innovations, sudden eureka moments when we're talking internal energy. And so Great Mother wants you to own your beauty. In other words, you may not be well practiced or well rehearsed, Tanya, in how you are feeling right now and communicating these new creative things to people, but she's encouraging you to release the need to control it. Sometimes double yang energy can mean that we want to control the environment that we find ourselves in suddenly. So you may have been suddenly promoted, or you might have a new job, and you're wanting to control the environment. But what she's encouraging is, as opposed to trying to control the environment so you keep everything kind of in place and in order like that, look at really how you have identified yourself in real time and how you are recreating yourself so that you, in this new position or in this new environment that you find yourself, or new dynamic at work, that you're dedicating yourself to it in a way that you can really be enchanted by it, that you can really experience the wonder of what's going on, and really kind of get in there with that creative energy that you already possess in spades. This lunar cycle is going to illuminate for you in your full moon card that Demeter energy, all about accepting how you feel and really asking for what you want. She stood in those shoes, and the first thing she did was ask Linda the Good Witch, what is the way home? How do I get back to Kansas? And so your way back home is transforming a typical Aries coercive, controlling approach to a more Libran approach of seduction. Seducing people through your own seduction into the enchantment of the environment. And we know this because that's exactly what happened as soon as she asked Glinda, the Good Witch, what the way home was. As soon as she asked that question, she was ushered off to what? Her yellow brick road. And that's what you have embarked upon this May. Now, as we look at that full moon kind of waning down, and we have our waning gibbous moon and Nefertiti. So the full moon is in Sagittarius. And so speaking of Sagittarius being your moon sign, and that full moon for you on the 29th of May, Tanya, is in that moon sign of yours in the 5th house, then that's telling us that you really are tapping into that creativity. You really are wanting to share that with the world, despite what may be some fits and starts with communicating those things, with kind of shifting the energy a little bit for you to be able to have a more of a beauty, feeling the beauty of falling in love with your own beautiful communication, and kind of learning how to do that and developing the full consciousness of the world and the enchantment around you. That's that Sagittarius energy, that full moon. It's going to come up in you, and especially with fifth house energy, that is creativity, that is self-expression. And so as the moon wanes down, it's going to be pulling in that gratitude for embracing that beauty, because you're going to get so much from it. And as that wanes down to the balsamic moon right before the new moon in Gemini on the 13th of June, around the 11th, 10th, 11th, maybe 9th, 10th, and 11th, okay, the moon stays in a sign for 2 to 2.5 days, there will be an acknowledgement. You will, in early mid-June, be acknowledging some form of abandonment or abuse, or the end of such a journey or relationship. You will be acknowledging that it is either time to really recognize that you're in a different space and it's time for you to move on again, or you have already moved on and now things have slowed down enough for you to realize why. Now let's look and see what this is about. Now, the balsamic moon, 10th, 11th, and 12th of June, is going to be in Taurus. And we know that because the new moon, the next phase after, is in Gemini. So we're revisiting this Taurus energy. The balsamic moon, what is that about? It's about downloading. It's about recuperation, resting, really kind of after the whole lunar cycle of May, from Taurus coming into Gemini, that closing out, that end of Taurus again, right before the new moon in Gemini, just kind of taking it all in, what you've learned the previous lunar cycle. So this is the perfect card to come up for you. It's a root chakra card. So you're going to be planting during that time, Tanya, new seed that has taken into account everything that you've learned about some form of perhaps self-abandonment or abuse that you have let go of by owning your beauty, that you have let go of by releasing the need to control, and instead creating your life from a place of acting on your intuition, because you have taken your intuition back. You have not allowed it to be taken away from you. You have communicated your needs in the way that you have been able to express them. Rage has to be expressed. And so whether you have expressed that rage by screaming as loud as you can in the garage, or you have actually had to have a moment to pull someone aside, that is in your shadow position. And so it more than likely indicates that it's something that you're still kind of working through, and that's why there's some feeling of abandonment and abuse. That's why you realize that it's time to go, because someone is still, by the end of the lunar cycle, still not on board with you with regard to how you're feeling about your new identity, how you're feeling about how you need to move forward, because that Aries energy from your South Node is in your 9th house, and so that's higher knowing. And so you're in a lifetime of releasing what you've known to work for you. Again, the warfaring, the being really, really assertive, that Aries energy, into North Node and Libra in your 3rd house. And so this communicating with the other, it's no surprise that there's challenges with that, and that there's feelings of abandonment and abuse, maybe perhaps feelings that you're giving more than maybe someone else is giving. This could be, in fact, your relationship with your mother, if not a manager. This is the card when Dorothy first returns home from the yellow brick road, and she awakens from her dream to be greeted by Aunt Em, and she's in her bed. feeling just fine, looking around, and Aunt M is looking at her, as if, she has hit her head and they didn't know that she was going to live. She hasn't been awake. So there's two different perspectives going on here. You're feeling fine. You're feeling like you've awakened from something and now you see the light. You know you have your birthright to be happy, healthy, and whole, Tanya. But there's someone in your environment, a mother-like figure or a mirroring image of yourself to yourself about this that's not quite on board with your new feeling. Maybe you are not owning this new desire to connect with people. You can do it though, because as we see the integrity card here in a balsamic moon position as well. So the end of this lunar cycle in May is still showing up at the beginning of June for you. So you're going to have a big bang into this new moon. You're going to have an acknowledgement and you're going to stand in that acknowledgement. So no, you're not going to have a problem by that time. Maybe now, but by that time, you're going to be totally standing in your integrity. And what is integrity? Telling ourselves the truth. You're going to be telling yourself the truth about these feelings of abandonment and abuse. You're going to be telling yourself the truth about really who is supportive and who is not supportive with the fulfillment of your wants and needs. This is also going to be downloaded at this particular time, this acceptance. And as we see with eternal grace and mercy, Dorothy is pointing to Professor Marvel in the window saying, you were there, as she's trying to convince everyone in the room about her journey. And he was, of course, the Wizard of Oz. So the Wizard of Oz is great father. Great father energy is the sun, the law, the logos, the word. And your sun sign is in Capricorn. So Capricorn is your workplace. And so again, this is pointing also definitely to your workplace as well. Do you work with your mother? If she's not a manager, or he's not a manager. Male could have a very strong yin energies, as we know. You're pointing out the truth. You're saying that that they know what you're talking about. Integrity is right under Mother Mary. And so while this lunar cycle starting up in May, you're acting on your gut feelings. As the end of the lunar cycle comes into fruition, there will be some responses, some reactions to you owning your beauty and creating yourself. And you're going to be calling people out. You're going to be showing them, you're going to be saying in the workplace, hey, this is what's really going on. And that this is how I feel. I've been sharing it with you. We all one God, one law. That has to do with we all come to our understanding in our own time. And so maybe they do know on a soul level, but they don't really know on a conscious level yet. And you are really pointing it out to them. That's the eternal grace and mercy. We all get there, but like Martin Luther King says, we may not get there together. And so what Great Mother is saying is don't overlook the fact that there's no need to be frustrated with that, Tanya, because just like Akhenaten, the Egyptian pharaoh, was the first ruler of the world to institute the worship of the one God, he is in the lineage of Jesus Christ, or rather Jesus Christ is in his lineage. Very Eureka type personalities, Aries type personalities, and he was not accepted. In fact, he had to move the palace headquarters of the pharaoh from Thebes to Amarna. And so the priests were not impressed with this new worship of the one God. They were supposed to be in charge of the interpretation of the pantheon, and all of a sudden he's just saying Ra. So again, we have this yang image for you, this symbology with the root chakra. You are really asserting your soul purpose at this time as it relates to your work environment, and you are really wanting to be sure. Maybe in your work environment this is a place where, you know, you are really perhaps wanting to be known, or you already are known for your tremendous creativity. And it's really a creative argument. It's really something that is important to you that really has to be expressed. And the vulnerability that's required at this time, just like with Akhenaten when he moved to Amarna, that took a great degree of humility to do that, Tanya. It took a great deal of humility for him to do that, but he made it a beautiful place, and it ended up being just like the card says. It's the law of mystery and divine order, the sanctuary that he needed to fulfill his purpose, his creative purpose. Again, that's what the yang symbolizes, the soul come into form, root chakra. So we come from the yin into the yang form. We come from the moon, the lunar, into the solar energy in order to have a physical experience. And so it's something about this physical life experience. The sun rules the 10th house, that Leo energy that is your ascendant in your first house. And there's something about you really, really wanting to express who and what you are at this time. And you know how you want that to be. Again, it's a really kind of a disciplined, routine way that you've been doing it, and you're ready to kind of shake it up according to your feelings of how things need to be changed up. And Great Mother's encouraging you to do that, but it's creating rage in you because people are not on board. Something like that. Something like that. Perhaps you just need a break, Tanya. You told me you were working 12-hour shifts, and the Pachamama card is it is time to straight up vamp. It's time to go. This is waning gibbous energy. Again, gratitude, thanksgiving for what has come to fruition. And some things have already come to fruition for you. Again, maybe a promotion has already happened, a change in your position at work, more responsibilities, or maybe you were under a new manager where this whole new thing about this new creative perspective is just too much. You know, it's just too much. Not that you can't handle it. No, you can handle it. You've had many lifetimes handling things. That's not the issue. The issue is now you're about to transition into this Libra North Node energy of the other and really genuinely communicating yourself with them. You've been studying a lot. There's a lot of like books and things around you, and it's just too much. It's just too much. And so with Pachamama, we see Dorothy is leaving the farmhouse with Toto after she realizes they are serious about taking Toto. And so this is right under the Rage card in May, the Pachamama card. And so some time to the trees, the fairies, the sea. Some time to yourself, to reground yourself, to reconnect yourself with the gratitude about where you are in your life. You're happy about where you are, Tanya. It's just that there are some challenges that are coming up that are these patterns that you are ready to face. You have accepted your feelings about it, and you've worked on re-identifying yourself so that you can shift to be ready for it. It's just like when they say, you know, it's a difference between the map and the actual walking out the plan. And so you have a map, and you've started to share that ideal, that perception, but the walking out of it is what is left, and that is what is causing the frustration. You kind of burned out. You just burned out. You need a break, sweetheart. You need a break. I think with a break, you'll come back with a fresh, just like Akhenaten. He had to have that time. You know, he had to have a sanctuary. And that's the law of mystery and divine order. You know, this comes up when, especially with this card, it is like, what? A break? What are you talking about? I'm right in the middle of running my kingdom. I've just gotten everything situated. I've just moved the palace to Amarna, and you talking about take a break. Oh, but I do have time actually, because I'm really kind of to myself. In the past, I had all these priests and all these administrators running around me 24/7. And since I'm out here, they really did kick me out. And I was really mad about it. But really, okay, I guess I do have time to do that. I really hadn't thought about that. And you need to think about that, because that's in your shadow position, Tanya. You haven't been thinking about that, and it does seem, out of the question at this particular time, but really something that's needed in order for you to maintain your integrity in such a way that you fully download what you need to download during this balsamic moon period. Every lunar phase has its purpose. Great Mother goes through each of these lunar phases throughout all of the different constellations with different energies, so that these transits support us and bolster us in different ways. This Sagittarius full moon is bolstering you in ways for you to accept your feelings in a more strong way, in a more creative way, in a more intuitive way, so that you can defend yourself against all offenders. And following up from this new moon tomorrow in Taurus, grounding you with that 10th house energy at work, what's happening is you are really beginning to kind of finesse how you're expressing yourself, that creativity. Okay, that 5th house energy, that Leo 5th house energy, which for you is really your ascendant. Leo is your first house, and so you really have a need to creatively express yourself, and you love to talk to yourself, talk to other people, and engage people, and all of that is just challenging at this time. So don't overlook that there is a divine order to all of this for you, and there is a purpose for you with regard to this. Great Mother wants you to do what you feel cannot be done, and that is take a break. She's saying that this is going to help you to move past present fears. Present fears. New moon energy. So we have new moon energy, which would represent either this new moon in May, because we're still talking balsamic here before the new moon in Gemini, or by the new moon in Gemini. It will be an auspicious time for you to engage in creative expression beyond the fears, beyond the back talk, beyond the flam that's coming and the smack that's coming up against you, just like that sign. When Dorothy and the three went to go to the witch's castle, on their way they were greeted by the dark forest. Remember, in that sign, the witch's castle is just up the road, but I'd turn back if I were you. Despite all of that you may be getting in your workplace, go on. Anyway, that's Baba Yaga. That's the wild woman energy. She does what she wants to do, child. She does what she wants to do regardless. And what you want to do is to fully accept your feelings. That's where you are right now. A full moon and the new moon, that's where you clearly are right now. And the full moon in Sagittarius, which is your moon sign, in the 5th house. 5th house is creativity. Represents Leo, which is your ascendant. It's going to come back around, and it's going to be a full moon type of illumination of you accepting your feelings despite some frustrations you may be having. And this self-creation that is building up to that, in the interim between now and that full moon, is all about you expressing your wants and your desires. This is creating some challenges, but Great Mother's encouraging you to own your beauty in the interim, and as you move from the full moon to the new moon on the 13th of June, just wild it out. Just do what you need to do in order to do you, which includes taking a break. Get in touch with Earth Mother. The weather has changed. You can go out a little bit more. I see you live in Florida, so that won't be as hard. Maybe you haven't been to the water lately. Maybe you haven't taken a walk outside lately. And what's so important about that is that it amplifies our intuitive energies, that ego-soul alignment. We can have as much confirmation as we want to have about our intuition, and we can have as much insight as we want to have about what's really going on with us internally. But until we're able to actually act on it, it doesn't mean much in this realm. It doesn't mean much in the physical realm at all, does it? And you have this opening up for you. Speaking of the interim between this new moon and the new moon in Gemini on the 13th of June, there's a release that needs to happen. That's third quarter moon energy. And so there's a release, there's a forgiveness of yourself, of other people that may be trying to misdirect you again with regard to their comments and their reactions to your beauty, to you asserting your beauty. And Great Mother saying it may feel strange for you to assert yourself at this time and in ways that you haven't done before. But it's very important that you do so. It's very important that you do so, because there's a law of mystery and divine order that is being activated that you just don't know. You know, you don't really have enough information to know how it's going to work out for you, but it is. It's definitely going to work out for you. Whenever you are acting on what you're downloading, that's balsamic energy, acting on it, and you're releasing what's not allowing you to act on it, you're just taking yourself higher and higher and higher in your personal power. And so the more personal power you get with the ego soul alignment, the more you are able to act on who you truly are and what you really want to bring into the world. And what you do in that process, Tanya, is you transform the rage, which is an important emotion to be expressed. It exists for a reason. It's telling us where we're not in alignment. It's telling us where our ego and our soul, our intuition, our emotion are not lined up. And so that's why the beginning of the reading was talking about this mirror. What is that manager? What is the main person that keep that stickling energy? You know, we got sticklers, people around us that just keep on kind of pawing at us, keep on pawing at us. What is their essential core message to you? What is their essential message to you at this time? And how can you use your intelligence to make sure in your response that you'll be known for what it is you truly want to dedicate yourself to at this time? There's a dedication that you have, and there's a discipline, this disposition that you have that really is very purposeful, and that needs to be communicated. So that's how you make the rage your ally, as opposed to just kind of a visceral reaction, which the gut chakra does represent. But our emotions have to be acknowledged. We want to also speak from a higher heart wisdom. Okay, and this is kind of a bringing the energies together. We have 1 month here, and so we go from the new moon in May to the new moon in Gemini, which you have the Sophia card here. And so the new moon in Gemini is definitely Sophia. The new moon in May is perhaps Baba Yaga energy, encouraging you to just go through the month and do you despite the fears. Now, heart chakra energy, that is the crossroads of the ego and the soul. So by the new moon in Gemini, which is all about that balancing energy, Gemini is all about you being able to truly and fully assess who and what you are who you are trying to be. And it's the 11th house from your moon. It's your 11th lunar house. So your Sagittarius moon in the 5th house, and so your 11th house is Gemini. Now, Gemini in your 11th house, this heart chakra energy, inner wisdom, means that you are by that time definitely having a great deal of inner wisdom about your close connections, your networking groups, the people that support you to get things done, your cliques, maybe close family members that have been advising you, maybe perhaps this maternal figure may be at home, again, may be working with this maternal figure, but whatever that is, just like we see Scarecrow here when Dorothy asked, which way do I go? When she did arrive on the yellow brick road and you are earnestly on yours by June 13th, the new moon in Gemini, anyway will be fine, because you will have done your internal work to trust yourself. What a beautiful new moon. That is exactly how you ideally want to start every new moon. Just like Dorothy started her journey on the yellow brick road, that is how you will be initiating your new moon in Gemini. Your transformative opportunity, Tanya, is to surrender to anything in the road. And this is the scene right after Sophia. This is when Dorothy meets, in addition, after Scarecrow, she meets the Tin Man, and then she meets the Lion. So these are extensions of yourself. So the Gemini new moon, you will definitely be getting in touch with your mental capacity to pursue your new line. It will be making more sense to you mentally. You will have taken a break and gotten some air and reconnected yourself, body and soul. And so your mind will be cleared up so that inner wisdom can shine through, with the heart first quarter moon being able to face the challenge of where your heart is, the Tin Man, and your courage is to continue your journey, the Lion. That lion energy, that Leo energy, that is definitely how you pursue things and how you move forward. And it is a very expressive energy. And so surrendering for you means that, the crescent moon is the next card after the new moon. And this is the one that's after that. And so, it doesn't take away the fact that she does meet the Tin Man and the Lion in the interim. Because in the surrender card, from you coming from your inner wisdom, you're going to be letting go of anything that keeps you from that inner wisdom, anything that keeps you from mental clarity, that keeps your heart closed, or that keeps your courage away from you. As we see Dorothy here in the poppy field, she falls asleep right as they're approaching the castle because the Wicked Witch has populated the grass with poppies. This is symbolic of going back to old ways. Maybe by this new moon and the first quarter moon after that, like a week after the new moon, you might be getting a little tired, and that's how it goes when we're on a new path, right? It's new to us, and we kind of forget, and we kind of fall back to the old ways and that sort of thing. But what we don't see in this card, as Dorothy is asleep, is that the Scarecrow and the Tin Man are crying out for help. So ask for help by the third week in June. Pray. As that great mother comes to your rescue, be in a meditative state about what it is you want to communicate to people and how you want them to receive what you're saying. Ask for the angelic guidance to see your new experience and your new environment, Tanya, with the sense of joy and enchantment for your new life, as opposed to feeling like it has to be some root determined kind of a thing, like that marching kind of, Aries energy from so many past lives in that Aries in the ninth house, and kind of softening up into that space that you already have, that you like to have an artistic expression. And you have an ability to direct your inspiration to the world. And you have an ability to initiate new things. It's just kind of, it would seem to me, or at least at this, if it's not new to you entirely to do so, you do have the ability. And this particular reading at this particular time, Tanya, is really encouraging you to tap into that in ways that may feel wild and strange to you, because you have it. What Great Mother does not want you to overlook is that you truly are embarking on a new path. This is Dorothy emerging from the farmhouse into Munchkin Land. It's another new moon card. So the new moon in Gemini is going to be tremendously powerful for you. Stay tuned to the Great Mother Speaks YouTube channel for your new moon wishes that are suggested, or as I always suggest, people get Jan Spiller's New Moon Astrology book so that you can learn how to do your own. That's an excellent book for that. It's gut chakra energy and heart chakra energy right there together. That energy about confidence and self-esteem, and the energy about you really being clear about what your wants and your needs are, and being really clear about how you want to share your life with other people. Dorothy invited everybody onto the yellow brick road that needed it, and as extensions of herself, when she crossed into Munchkin Land, she was moving from a black and white to a technicolor world. You know on a gut level, Tanya, that that's exactly what you're doing. And so by the new moon in Gemini, you are really going to feel that. You are really going to, as a result, begin to actually establish boundaries with people who are not able to go with you into that new environment, and you are going to be able to do so as long as you stay prayerful and as long as you honor your intuition about how to do that in ways that, again, really reward you with a sense of joy and enchantment for the world. You know, it really does seem like the core message here from Great Mother, with integrity in the center of your reading, really is pointing to just falling in love with the beauty of who you are and communicating that to others. What's around your reading is that the goal is, over the next couple of months, to be able to develop a full consciousness of the world around you, what's motivating others as well as what's motivating yourself. And the gift that you have is that whatever this maternal energy is around you, it's reflecting a mirror and it's showing you. So if you can allow yourself not to take it personally, just as I am, the mother figure here, was saying, hey, Toto has to go. We cannot go against the law. She took it as nothing personal. But then again, she didn't understand how important Toto was to Dorothy. He symbolizes her intuition. She can't let her intuition go, or Dorothy wasn't. So we find ourselves at cross purposes many times with people who are very close to us, who care about us, and who we need to do our creative expression, our artistic creation in the world. And what that means is that they're offering us on a soul level, just as Aunt Em was offering to Dorothy by sitting there and allowing Miss Ghost to take Toto on a soul level, the freedom to take the journey that she needed to take to find herself. That's a deep soul love. That is a deep soul love. Allowing Dorothy to do what she needed to do to reground herself in the world. That waxing gibbous moon energy. Revision of oneself, refining of oneself. And so that's what people who are close to us in our lives, that's what they do. And so it may feel like abandonment and abuse, but really what they're doing on a soul level is that they're forcing us to be clear about where we are in our lives, where we've come from, where we're going, what our boundaries need to be. And they are forcing us to express parts of ourselves that we ordinarily would not. Dorothy would have never ever gone into a dark forest. Never. But she knew that if she wanted what she truly wanted, which was Ruby Red Slipper card, to go home, which is owning our divinity, our birthright to be happy, healthy, and whole, that she would have to express a part of herself that she had not in the past. And so the emphasis here is to surrender to the process, Tanya. You are definitely supported with your ego soul alignment as long as you are aware that you are divine, dearly loved child of the great Mother, Father God, who is never judged, condemned, or left alone. Therefore, as you ask for help, it will come. It will come. Expect it, and expect the guidance to be very clear, directly in alignment with what you know and how you feel at the moment. Ask for it throughout the day, all day, and you will receive exactly what you need. Thank you so much for your patience, your kindness, and your willingness to receive a reading in perhaps a different way than you had initially scheduled. But this is a beautiful reading for you, Tanya. You have a beautiful next couple of months. May is definitely a month that is going to be embarking on a whole new emotional, intuitive path that may have some bumps in the road, but you truly know the truth and are acting upon it. As the Gemini moon, new moon comes, you're going to be standing in that integrity so that by the end of that period, you will have a true sense of where you have come from and where you're going for the remainder of your lunar year. Now, remember the Sagittarius new moon is in December, around the 19th or the 20th. So you are about halfway through your lunar moon season. So this is a perfect reading for you, having clarity at your halfway mark about moving forward by the end of the Gemini moon, which is about mid-July. Many blessings. Remember, Great Mother loves you, and I do too.